Hello YouTube. Just a little garden update after the hailstorm from last week. It's been actually it's been 8 days since the hailstorm. It tore up the back porch and ripped apart the garden pretty much. So I figured we'd start on the good side of the garden and show you what didn't get ripped up, and it's come back pretty good. All the onions are looking good. Probably need to get in there and weed some of that out, but we have many of them that are softball size onions, so I'm gonna call this a good onion crop. You can see everywhere that the stalks are white or broke over, dried out. That's where the hail hit them, broke them, and they're not gonna come back. So we just left them in the ground this next week just to see if we get any more growth or see if the stems will start to fall over. But so far the stems act like they're still growing the onion. So we're going to leave it in there about another week. Potatoes the same way. Down at the far end, they're starting to kind of die off, look kind of weakly. So I'm probably going to start digging down there sometime this week. See what we got. We did do a test batch up here from this end, and they were looking pretty good. So hopefully we're going to hope for the best. Now let's go to the sad part. I'm going to kind of run you through everything. I've made a list, and we're going to do a comparative list at the end of the video. These 4 tomatoes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 of those are yellow pear tomatoes. All 4 of them, I think, are going to make it, only because, get down close on a couple of them, we have suckers at the very top. We have a sucker here, we have a sucker here, and I thought I saw another one earlier, but actually we have a sucker down here at the very bottom of the plant growing up, and it's right here. Same thing with this one. So we've still got growth in one of the stems that suckered off. This was a sucker at one time, and it grew up, and it still got growth in the top part. There's not much top growth here. There's a little bit, but not much. All my main growth is coming off this stem, which appears to be broke. But it's growing like crazy. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stake this one up, put a little something over here, a little tape or something like that. Try to hold it together and just see. I figured 3 out of 4 isn't bad. Alright, onwards to the squash. Alright, this here is Crookneck Squash. When I planted it, I guess I planted 3 squash seeds in there instead of just 2, which normally I do. Obviously the one on the right is going away. The one in the middle, I'm not sure yet. It seems to be growing pretty good right through here. I can get the camera on it. Right in here, lots of new growth. And the third plant over here, it's trying. I'll give it that. It's trying. Get some new growth on it, but I think probably we're going to give it another week to see. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up. That's going to be the main one that's going to make it, I believe. Right next to it, I believe, is an acorn squash. You can see the leaves are the stalks that have been torn down by the hail. I mean, there's holes in the stalks. There's holes in the leaves. I believe I'm going to do that. Cut the stalks off. Put something on the end of it, either tape, tin foil, something like that. Try to keep all the vine borers out. I've never had them. I don't want them. They're a real pain in the butt to get rid of, so we're going to do everything we can to keep them out of the squash. We'll skip this itty bitty tomato here. We'll come back to it. Then we start in the zucchini. Zucchinis, I'm going to give him another week. He's trying. He's got some, look, new growth here. Got some new growth way down in there. So I hate to get rid of him when he's giving it the college try. This one here, same thing. It's got some new growth down in the very bottom. He's trying real hard. This last one has good growth. It's got good nice leaves on it inside. It's growing like crazy down on the bottom. It's got blooms everywhere. I do believe this one's going to make it. And remember, it was beat down too. Here's one of the stalks. That's what it looked like when they were all tore up. Come back to the Dixie squash. Dixie squash, I do believe, is going to make it. Again, lots of new growth, blooms. Here's one of the old stems. See how tore up it was? See how split this one is when the hail tore it up? So all this stuff right in here is brand new growth. Another Dixie squash, I believe, is going to make it. For whatever reason, this one didn't germinate just as quick as the first one, and I believe it's going to come on. Let's look at some cucumbers. These are my pickling cucumbers. I planted 4. One on each side. I'm sorry. 2 on each side of my trellis we built. And the back 2. We've already got a cucumber growing on that one. There, but for the grace of God, it's growing. The other 3 are gone. Same thing with these. These are Burpee cucumbers. Same thing again. 2 on this side. Only one of which you can see now. 2 on the other side. And that one there, I'm going to go ahead and plant something else. I'm going to plant another seed down there. If it comes on with it, great. If it don't, I've already got backup started. It's trying. I will give it credit. You got to get real close down there on it, but it's got some new growth. Like I said, as long as they're giving it the good old college try, I'm not going to pull them up yet. Apparently the hail down here didn't hit much of anything. These are a new brand of pepper we're growing this year, Oriental chili pepper. Appears to have a purple pepper. That one's got blooms on it. And you can tell on the leaves, this leaf got hit, this one obviously got hit, this one got hit. We have new little growth leaves in here. More like what I probably need to do is take this off and let it put the more effort into growing the plant right now instead of blooming. There's another little bloom. And all of these are like this. So apparently it didn't knock the growing tips off. I have a growing tip here. There's a bunch of growth in here. There's a bunch of growth down the stem. There's a bunch of growth down the stem. So I don't know if that's just indicative of this plant or what, but it's growing, so we're going to leave it alone. Say this last one down here, as it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 peppers on it already, and blooms. So we got growth, a lot of growth, blooms, a lot of growth, blooms. So I believe those are going to make it. One of the peppers at German giant tomato. For whatever reason, I planted 2 together. Not sure about that, but the top got knocked out of this one. However, on this one, it's just fine. So we're going to cut this off and hopefully let this sucker start taking off. The Basco peppers, not sure. I've got 3 of them. That one's a pretty good tall one, but most of the leaves have been damaged. There's some slight growth up in the middle of it. Not sure if it's going to take off with it or not. Next one is the dwarf kind, I guess. I'm not sure what happened, but it's growing like crazy. And the last one, I'm not going to hold much hope for it. There's no growth leaves on it. No, nowhere on this plant do I see any kind of growth or anything. So I believe this one's probably going to get pulled here in the next couple days. All right, going down the row of the purple bell peppers. Again, we got a lot of damaged leaves on the top, but down inside it, we've got new growth and little bitty new growth. So hopefully, I'm not gonna hold my breath, but Same thing, we got a lot of damaged leaves. But you get down closer, down further, it's got some new growth on it. This one not near as much as the first one. It's a good example to show you. Obviously, there's no top. This is the main branch, there's no top. But we've got brand new growth right here. All in here is 4 leaves right there. And there's some more leaves down here and some more leaves down here. Now there's controversy on if you top the tops of your pepper plants and cut the growing top out, it'll make more leaves down on the bottom grow bushier, and you'll have more blooms, and therefore you'll have more peppers. I don't know, I've never tried the other way. I've always just planted the peppers and let them go. So God's going to help me out a little bit on this one. He topped the top part out for me, so we're going to see what happens with it and go from there. Down into the jalapenos, same thing, they've got jalapenos on them. No growth, well, except this one has a little bit of growth, but probably just need to pull the pepper on it off. I mean, this, well, that needs to come off. And let's let the plant see if it's going to make it or not. That's pretty much all of them. This one here is probably doing the best of all of them. Got new growth leaves, new blooms, new growth leaves here. A couple down on the bottom. But again, I believe if I take this pepper off, we'd solve some of that. And again, this video is somewhat for me also, because I want to be able to come back and see, hey, how much has this part here grown? How much has this grown? There's a little bloom right there on the right side of it. How much has this grown in a week? I mean, is it really going to make it or not? One of our tam jalapenos, I believe, is going to make it. Need to come out and cut the dead leaves off. There's the damaged leaves here and here and here. But it's trying to bloom and it's trying to grow like crazy. This one here, lost cause. We'll play some taps for it also. Here we are at the Homestead Tomato. Now obviously it didn't get hit hard, but it's got some damage on it. It's got a sucker down here at the bottom coming up. There's some more suckers. I believe that was a sucker, and maybe this branch got knocked off or something. Got a sucker up here in the top. Got a lot of top growth up here. Got some top growth over here. So normally, I come out here when I plant my tomatoes and I take all the suckers off. This year, I had not had a chance to do that. We were so far behind, we just planted them and I left them go. The next weekend, told my wife I'm gonna go out there and sucker about half of them to prove to her what it does. Kind of glad I didn't get a chance to do that this year. Same thing with this one. It branched off into 2. Normally I would take it down into 1, just pick one and go with it. But now, this left one came up, got a sucker here, good top growth, got some more growth over here, actually got a bloom over here on this side, and it on the right side came up, made a sucker, and it's growing the top over there. If I'd got to that the way I normally do it, I probably wouldn't have a tomato plant right now. Here's a very good example. When one splits, of course we had another one grow from the very bottom down here. But if I would have come out here and picked this side to save and cut this side off to make it a single stem, you can see this side not going to do anything. This isn't going to do anything. This is the only growing branch with all this top growth here. And it's trying real hard, so we're going to give it a little TLC. It knocked the top out of it right here. But over here on the side, we have another branch coming out. It's got some good top growth in it. Down to the big boys. They were still kind of small when we put them in. I guess the hail missed them. This one did knock the main part of the plant off, but I had a side shoot coming up. That now is going to be the tomato plant. Same with this one. Top shoot made it, or the main shoot made it. Got some side shoots coming off. Growing like crazy. So I'm not going to take anything off of these tomatoes. Told you we'd come back to this. Let's come back to it. Tiny Tim. We planted 4 Tiny Tims up front. Tiny Tim, nothing. Tiny Tim, nothing. So this is the only Tiny Tim that made it. And these are extremely small. Boy, they produce a bunch of tomatoes. You can just rake them off. Put them straight up in your salad. I'm going to leave you with a shot going down through here of the purple hull peas. Pretty sure we're going to have to replant those. They just got beat down too much. Which means that I will have to be doing a lot of the picking, shelling, and putting up. Wife's done said she's not going to do it since she's going back to school. Unless maybe I can talk her into retiring. If y'all can help me talk her into retiring, then she could help. You got any comments about that? Put that down in the comment box below. We're looking at pros and cons of her retiring right now. 28 years worth of teaching. And she's about ready to hang it up. Got any comments or anything on anything I've said as far as cutting the sides of tomatoes off that are damaged or whatnot? Please let me know before I do it, because thank y'all for watching. And a big thanks goes out to the people that sent us some stuff. I will be doing a video on some of that here pretty soon. I've decided that I'm going to try to put some of that into hydroponics and get it caught up with the garden real quick. We'll go from there. I'll be back next week to let you know how everything did that we saved, didn't put on the chopping block, and maybe some stuff we tried to save and it just went away too. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.